The Amazon rainforest is a world unto itself. It breathes, it lives. A vast green ocean of trees stretches further than the eye can see, a place so dense that sunlight struggles to touch the forest floor. For centuries, we saw this jungle as a symbol of pure, untamed nature, a wilderness untouched by human hands. We believed it was a place where only small, scattered tribes could survive, forever at the mercy of the unforgiving environment. We thought we knew its story. It was a story of emptiness, of a land too hostile for civilization to ever take root and flourish. We were wrong. Beneath the suffocating tangle of vines and the colossal canopy lies a secret. A ghost of a world is hidden there. It is a story etched not in stone but in the very soil itself. This secret whispers of great cities, of complex societies, and of a population far larger than anyone ever dared to imagine. The jungle was not an obstacle to be overcome, it was a home to be nurtured. The evidence was there all along, concealed in plain sight, waiting for the right moment and the right eyes to be discovered. It just took us centuries to learn how to look. The illusion of an empty wilderness was powerful. Explorers who followed the first pioneers saw only the overwhelming green. They saw a wall of vegetation that seemed impenetrable, a place that swallowed up expeditions and erased all traces of those who dared to enter. The soil, they noted, was poor and acidic, incapable of supporting the large-scale agriculture needed for cities. Their conclusions seemed logical, based on the evidence they could see with their own eyes. The Amazon, they declared, was a biological paradise but a human desert, a place where history had never been written. But a nagging question remained, a persistent whisper from the distant past that refused to be silenced. What if the jungle wasn't erasing history, but merely guarding it? What if the emptiness was not a sign of absence, but of loss? The truth is that the Amazon is not a pristine wilderness. It is a garden, shaped and managed by human hands for thousands of years. It is a landscape designed by a lost civilization, a place whose greatest monuments have been slowly reclaimed by the very nature they once mastered. The jungle we see today is their legacy. The first hint of this forgotten world came in 1542. A Spanish conquistador, Francisco de Orellana, was searching for cinnamon and gold. Instead, he found something far more incredible. Drifting down the winding course of the Amazon River, his expedition stumbled into a different reality. He did not find an empty jungle. He reported seeing a continuous line of settlements stretching for miles along the riverbanks. He wrote of great cities, shining white in the sun, teeming with thousands of people. He described wide, paved roads, fertile farmland, and a highly organized society. Orellana spoke of a civilization that rivaled those in Europe. His chronicles detailed encounters with crowds of warriors who emerged from these riverside towns to defend their territory. He saw intricate pottery, and a populace that was well-fed and numerous. His account painted a picture of a vibrant, thriving world, a densely populated heartland in the middle of what was supposed to be a barren wasteland. To his superiors back in Spain, his reports must have sounded like the fevered dreams of a man lost in the jungle, a fantasy concocted to explain his failure to find gold. For the centuries that followed, Orellana's story was dismissed. It was treated as a fable, an exaggeration, a lie. Later explorers ventured into the same regions and found nothing but jungle. Where were the great cities Orellana had described? Where were the teeming populations and the wide roads? They saw only scattered nomadic tribes. They concluded that Orellana must have lied to make his journey sound more important. The harsh reality of the jungle, they believed, made his claims impossible. The Amazon was simply too difficult, too wild for such a civilization to exist. The mystery deepened. The man who followed Orellana found a landscape transformed. The cities had vanished. The people were gone. Had Orellana imagined it all? Or had something terrible happened in the intervening years? The explorers who doubted him could not have known that they were witnesses to a tragedy. They were walking through a graveyard. The diseases they and other Europeans had brought with them had swept through the Amazon like a fire, wiping out an estimated 90% of the indigenous population. The jungle had simply grown back over the silent ruins. The mystery of Orellana's lost cities lingered for nearly 500 years. The debate raged on, a puzzle with no missing piece. Then a new kind of explorer arrived. These explorers did not carry machetes and compasses. They carried lasers and satellites. In the 21st century, technology gave us a new way to see. From high above the canopy, airplanes equipped with a system called LiDAR, or light detection and ranging, began to map the forest floor. LiDAR works by shooting billions of laser pulses down through the trees, creating a detailed three-dimensional map of the ground hidden beneath. The jungle's veil was finally lifted. What LiDAR revealed was breathtaking. It was Orellana's world, brought back from the dead. The laser maps showed the unmistakable evidence of human engineering on a massive scale. Perfectly straight roads, causeways and canals connected settlements. Vast geometric shapes, squares, circles and rectangles were carved into the earth, their purpose still a mystery. These were the earthworks or geoglyphs of a forgotten people. They were massive, some stretching for hundreds of meters, invisible from the ground but perfectly clear from the sky. The evidence was undeniable. Drones flying low over cleared areas of the forest confirmed the LiDAR data, capturing images of these ancient structures. Archaeologists on the ground followed the maps and found the remnants of moats, walls and raised agricultural fields. They unearthed shards of sophisticated pottery and the dark fertile soil known as terra preta. This black earth was a man-made soil, created by adding charcoal, bone and waste to the poor jungle soil, transforming it into land capable of sustaining large populations. It was the agricultural secret that had allowed these cities to thrive. These lost cities were not made of stone like those of the Maya or Inca. They were built from the earth and wood of the forest itself. This is why they disappeared so quickly. Once the people were gone, the jungle swiftly consumed the wooden structures, and the earthen mounds and ditches were slowly covered by layers of vegetation. The civilization had been hiding in plain sight the entire time. The technology simply allowed us, for the first time, to strip back the leaves and see the ghosts that lay etched into the land below. These discoveries are more than just a solution to an old mystery. They force us to completely rethink the history of the Americas. The Amazon was not a pristine wilderness before the arrival of Europeans. It was a heavily managed and populated landscape. It was the home of a massive, interconnected network of societies that flourished for centuries. These people were not simple hunter-gatherers living at the mercy of the jungle. They were brilliant engineers and farmers who shaped the environment to suit their needs, creating a sustainable way of life in a place we once thought was uninhabitable. This new understanding changes our perception of the rainforest itself. The jungle we see today is, in many ways, an artifact of this lost civilization. Many of the plants and trees that dominate the region, such as the Brazil nut tree, were cultivated and spread by these ancient peoples. The forest is a garden, albeit one that has grown wild for 500 years. This knowledge challenges our ideas about conservation. It shows that humans and nature can coexist, that a large population can live in the Amazon without destroying it. In fact, they enriched it. The story of the Amazon's lost civilization is a cautionary tale. It shows how quickly a world can vanish and how easily its history can be forgotten. It reminds us of the devastating impact that disease and colonization had on the indigenous peoples of the Americas. The world Orellana saw was the last glimmer of a civilization on the brink of collapse. The silence that followed was not the quiet of untouched nature, but the silence of profound loss. What else remains hidden beneath the trees waiting to be found? The Amazon still holds its secrets close. Every new discovery raises more questions than it answers. Who were these people? What were their cities called? What did their giant earthworks mean? As deforestation continues at an alarming rate, we are in a race against time. We must uncover these secrets not only to understand the past, but also to learn lessons for our future. The lost cities of the Amazon prove that the greatest discoveries are often not in distant galaxies, but right here on Earth, buried just beneath our feet.